So I got a second question this week, and I'm sorry, but I don't know the name of who this came from. They just gave me an email address. But they said, should someone be in control of the communications? If so, who? If not, why? Now, this is a great question because it's really a challenge that I see a lot of churches struggling with. And the short answer is yes, someone has got to be overseeing your communications. And here's why. Because someone needs to be the gatekeeper for you. The person who collects information in a timely fashion so that things are communicated both early and often. You need someone who's going to function as your quality control, who makes sure that your promotions meet the goals and expectations that your church has agreed on. Okay, so someone's got to be able to say, hey, I think we missed something, or that doesn't quite stand up to our standards. We need to maybe rethink how we're promoting this. You need someone who then can schedule your communications so your church doesn't get inundated. It's really easy, especially with the fall coming, for a church to have tons of things launching, and there's this tendency that everyone wants to promote their event at one time. And the problem there is that your listener ends up shutting down because they don't know what to listen to. There's so much information coming at them that it's really hard to stay on track. So if you've got someone who's helping you schedule, they can be thinking about, all right, the men's event is 4 weeks away, but the women's event is 3 weeks away. But small groups launches in 2 weeks. So we need to think about promoting this in an order rather than just throwing everything out at one time and hoping something sticks. So having someone as that gatekeeper who is on top of what exactly is coming next can help tremendously in that area. Now, who that is on your staff can vary. And when possible, I would really encourage this to be a staff member. And the reason for that is that things happen in the church office, in meetings, in the hallways, where you overhear things and you go, hey, we haven't promoted that yet. We need to be talking about it. Or I think this group would really like to hear about this information and they don't know it's coming. So if it's someone on staff, they have the ability to be part of those conversations. I can't even begin to tell you how many times I have sat in a meeting and realized as the communications guy, I had no idea something was coming up that was only a couple weeks away because no one had brought me up to speed. And essentially, I kind of had a saying that if the communications guy didn't know it existed, it didn't exist because that meant people didn't know what was happening. So just if it could be a staff member, definitely would help you tremendously. If not a staff member, it really needs to be a super high level, highly committed volunteer. Someone who can be in the midst of it with you and has a great rapport with your staff. Because to do communications well means you've got to be able to connect with your staff, be a part of the team, and have rapport set together. The next thing is you've got to be highly organized. That person's got to be able to look at details a long ways off. They've got to be able to collect information from people and really get all of it put together into a single place. They've got to have a long-term view of the church ministry and really a sense that of what is going on in the continuum of the ministry, not just today, but be looking out a month, out 2 months, out 3 months, even 6 months into the future and going, okay, we know we're going to do these things, so let's start preparing now so we don't have that last minute complete overwhelming sense of things. It's got to be someone who's good with people also, who can carry on a conversation and convey information well. Someone who's super articulate, because that gatekeeper person ends up proofreading a lot of the time, or at least looking for what we have and haven't included in information. So they've got to have an eye for detail also. And if they're computer savvy, you are 100 times better. Because our communications are going so much digital, there is a sense that if you can't figure it out on the computer, it's just going to be it's going to be a lot challenging going forward. And then the last thing is, if they can create or edit designs, you are golden. And that's because that person's got to be able to look at a promotion and say, this almost meets our expectations, but it's not quite there. Let me fix it for you, so that you know things meet your goals.